Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and the long fateful day has finally dawned upon us because Apple just announced the new iPhone 12, iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12 Pro, and iPhone 12 Pro Max. With new colors, new cameras, a new MagSafe magnetic system, 5G capabilities, and much, much more. In fact, for this video, I'm going to do my best to give you a detailed breakdown of everything new with the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro, which model is right for you, and some other considerations you might want to consider, like maybe skipping the iPhone 12 altogether. Now, before you watch this video, I just want to give a fair warning that this is not a full review of the iPhone 12. I do not have the device on hand, but I like to make these videos for people who are eager to pre-order and want to know the differences between the different models. So I'm going to give you my best buying advice with the information that I have here, but know ultimately that my final decision or opinion on which phone you should buy will not be finalized until I publish my full review. So if you want even more details, make sure you're subscribed for that future full review video. Alright, but without further delay, let's get into this video and start with some information about the brand new iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 mini. So the iPhone 12 comes with a brand new design where the edges of the phone are now flat edges rather than the rounded edges we had with the iPhone designs going all the way back to the iPhone 6. In a lot of ways, this is a return to form to the iPhone 4 and iPhone 5 era. But it more closely mimics the design on the most recent iPad Pros and the brand new iPad Air. The iPhone 12 is available in black, white, red, green, and a brand new blue color, which I think looks pretty sharp and would go nicely with a brand new Apple Watch Series 6 with that new blue color as well. The iPhone 12 still comes in a 6.1-inch display size like the iPhone 11, however, the physical footprint of the phone is actually smaller. That is thanks to the reduced bezels on the front of the display because Apple is now using an OLED display panel rather than an LCD panel. Overall, the regular sized iPhone 12 is 15% smaller, 11% thinner, and 16% lighter than the previous iPhone 11. If you want an even smaller phone, Apple also launched the iPhone 12 mini alongside the iPhone 12, which packs in the same features as the iPhone 12, but into a much smaller body that is even smaller than a 4.7-inch iPhone SE, but packs in a full 5.4-inch full-screen display. Speaking of the displays, the OLED display on the iPhone 12 is a Super Retina XDR display with a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio and up to 1200 nits of peak brightness when watching HDR video. This means that this is the same exact display technology as even the more expensive iPhone 12 Pro, and it looks like this year there will be no differences in the quality of the iPhone displays like there were in previous years. The display on these new iPhones also gets a durability increase that is up to 4 times stronger thanks to what Apple is calling a ceramic shield for the front glass. Also on the back of the iPhone 12, we now have a new magnetic system called MagSafe, which yes, that's the same marketing term they used to use for the chargers on the MacBook, but it looks like it's kind of the same philosophy. And Apple is bringing that system over to the iPhone 12. So not only can you get wireless magnetic chargers on the back of your iPhone 12, but Apple also has some new accessories like a small wallet, which you can place on the back of your iPhone 12, and they even showed off some other accessories from third parties like a wireless car mount, a 3 charging system for your Apple Watch, your iPhone, and your AirPods, and also a new charger from Apple that will charge both your iPhone and your Apple Watch. The MagSafe system looks really cool and pretty smart, and with third-party support, there might be some really cool exclusive accessories coming to the iPhone 12s this year, so I'll be really interested to see all of the cool things that we have from a year from now. Also, I'm pretty sure this is a guarantee that Apple will be removing the Lightning port from the iPhone 13, but that's a video for another day. I should also probably mention, because Apple seemed to mention it a lot, that this is the first 5G capable iPhone. 5G, in theory, will lead to faster cellular networking speeds and reduced wireless latency. So basically, you'll get faster download speeds and less lag. And I keep saying in theory because 5G networking right now is still in its infancy in the United States. And while this might be a good phone to pick up for the next 3 to 4 years, I'm not that hopeful that for, say, the next 6 months, you'll notice any significant faster wireless speeds on your iPhone 12. But I'm willing to be proven wrong, and I should also note that Apple is tackling the issue of 5G chips' adverse effects on battery with a software feature called Smart Data Mode that will automatically switch between LTE and 5G signals. So it will use LTE when you don't need 5G speeds to save on battery life, and then switch over to 5G once you can take advantage of those faster speeds. Speaking of new iPhone chips, the iPhone 12 will also get Apple's flagship A14 processor. This processor is the first 5nm smartphone processor, and Apple is still leading the industry here in terms of smartphone chip performance. In fact, the A13 was previously the fastest smartphone processor before they leapfrog themselves with the A14 this year. The A14 just looks crazy fast on paper with its single-core performance that is faster than any Mac on the market, and its impressive multi-core and GPU performance to boot. It should lead to some pretty impressive performance gains, and is powering the impressive computational photography and Dolby Vision video that the iPhone 12 is capable of. Speaking of Dolby Vision and those cameras, one of the bigger upgrades this year is the iPhone 12's camera. So the iPhone 12 still has a 12 megapixel wide angle and ultra wide angle camera. However, the wide angle is now an f1.6 aperture, which allows the iPhone 12 to bring in 27% more light. Furthermore, the iPhone 12 can now do night mode shots using any of the camera lenses, including the front-facing camera, as well as Smart HDR3 and Deep Fusion, and all of Apple's smart computational photography features. Maybe one of the biggest upgrades to the iPhone 12's camera system this year is the video quality, which can now record in 4K Dolby Vision. This 10-bit video codec is apparently the first on a smartphone, and it could lead to some pretty amazing results if those test videos were anything to go by. Okay, before we talk about pricing and pre-order dates and some recommendations, let's talk about the differences between the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro. So the iPhone 12 Pro design is very similar to the iPhone 12, but there are some key differences here, like the sides are made with stainless steel instead of aluminum, and it's also available in different colors like graphite, silver, gold, and also a new but different shade of blue. I should also note that the bezel on the front of the iPhone 12 Pro has been reduced in size even more than the regular iPhone 12. This will accompany a bigger display in both models. So now the iPhone 12 Pro has a 6.1-inch display compared to the previous iPhone 11 Pro, which had a 5.8-inch display, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max has a 6.7-inch display instead of the 6.5-inch that was offered on the 11 Pro. Apple says the physical footprint of the iPhone 12, despite having a larger display, is nearly identical to their iPhone 11 counterparts. Now, besides those design tweaks, all of the features that were found on the iPhone 12 also make their way over to the Pro, so we're not going to reiterate all of those features, but I am going to talk about some exclusive ones that make their way to the iPhone 12 Pro and to the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So the iPhone 12 Pro has an additional zoom lens. Apple says it's a 4x zoom lens, but they are measuring that from the ultra wide angle lens, so it's still the same 2x zoom system that you would have on the iPhone 11 Pro. However, the iPhone 12 Pro Max has a bigger focal length of 65mm, meaning that the 2x zoom moves to a 2.5x zoom, or if we're using Apple's terms here, that would mean a 5x zoom range going from the ultra wide to the telephoto lens. Speaking of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it also has a bigger sensor size by 47% when you compare it to the iPhone 12 Pro. So it has a better camera system that is capable of even better low light performance. And the 12 Pro Max has a new sensor shift optical image stabilization system for better adjustments when taking photos with shaky hands. Both the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro do get the new Lidar Scanner that was on the 2020 iPad Pros. However, this time they are doing more than just enhancing augmented reality. Now they will allow you to have faster autofocus in low lighting by up to 6 times faster, and this LiDAR scanner also enables night mode portrait mode shots using the depth sensor. Perhaps one of the biggest differences between the iPhone 12 Pro series and the regular iPhone 12 is Apple's new Prores Codec, which produces raw photos with all of the computational information also stored in there from Apple's cameras. Raw photos give you way more control over photo editing, and it's kind of a pro feature, so it makes sense that it's exclusive to the Pro iPhones. However, considering both the 12 and 12 Pro both use the same A14 processor, it's kind of weird that it's only exclusive to the 12 Pro. I wonder if that's actually hardware-based or if it's just locked by software. Oh, and before we get to which iPhone you should buy, don't forget that all iPhones will no longer be sold with a power brick or include Lightning earbuds. So if you don't have a power brick, be sure to order one with your iPhone 12, although the USB-C to Lightning cable is still included, for now. Okay, hopefully I did a good job covering all of those features because there was a lot to go over, and I'm sorry if I missed a key feature or didn't mention one of the differences between the 12 and the Pro series, but if I did, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's talk about the question of which iPhone should you buy? Well, let's start with the iPhone 12 mini because it retails for $699, and that is basically the new base model for the iPhone. Because the iPhone 12, which used to be the regular version, now retails for $799. That's a $100 increase over the iPhone 11. Both models start at 64 gigabytes of storage. However, for those of you ordering, I would seriously recommend buying the 128 gigabyte storage configuration, which is $50 more on both models. Especially if you know that you plan to take a lot of photos and HDR video, the storage on your iPhone will zap up quickly if you choose the 64 gigabyte model. I know people like to get that base storage price, but I think $50 extra for double the storage is a worthwhile investment. As for whether you should go with the mini or the regular sized iPhone 12, I think that's mostly a personal preference decision based on which size you prefer. However, I will note that the battery seems to be weaker in the iPhone 12 mini, with a battery rating of 15 hours during video playback, while the normal 12 and 12 Pro both have 17 hours of video playback. So if you're a power user who's on their phone day and night, you may want to stay away from the mini, which is going to be hard because I really want that smaller iPhone 12. And I just hope the battery is good enough for my needs. When deciding to jump up to the iPhone 12 Pro, I think it's a hard sell when you compare it against the $200 difference between it and the regular iPhone 12. Well, I guess it's more realistically a $150 difference when you consider the iPhone 12 Pro now comes with a base storage of 128 gigabytes. Especially when you consider that the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro both have the same 6.1-inch OLED display, and while the Pro does get a nice stainless steel finish and Lidar camera, and it does get that extra zoom lens, the camera differences between both phones don't appear to be too drastic. However, that story changes when you consider the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which seems to be getting a much better camera system than the regular iPhone 12 Pro, with a 47% larger sensor and 5 times optical zoom range from the ultra-wide camera. The iPhone 12 Pro Max seems like the clear winner here, especially if you like the larger 6.7-inch display and superior battery life with a 20-hour video playback rating compared to the 17 hours that you would find on the regular-sized iPhone 12 Pro. The Pro Max is $100 more expensive than the iPhone 12 Pro, but again, it does come with 128 gigabytes of base storage, which I think is an acceptable amount. So I think it's going to be a fine base model to pick up, but if you want to upgrade the storage, Apple has lowered the cost of the 256 gigabyte upgrade to $1,099 on the regular size Pro and $1,199 on the Pro Max. So right now, based on all the information we have from the Apple event, I would say the biggest consideration is to step up to the Pro model, especially the iPhone 12 Pro Max in particular, if you want the best possible camera system on an iPhone, and you plan on using some of those exclusive camera features, like the Lidar Scanner for night mode portrait shots, or Apple's new Apple Pro RAW codec for getting more advanced control over editing your photos. Now, I should also mention that if you want the iPhone 12 mini, the least expensive iPhone 12, or the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the more advanced and most expensive iPhone in the lineup, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. Because while both the 6.1-inch iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro will be available to pre-order this Friday and will ship the following week on October 23rd, for the Mini and the Pro Max, you'll have to wait until November 6th to even get your pre-orders in. Also, while I think the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro look great, and I'm excited to test them out for my full review, I would also advise maybe not to even get an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 12 Pro if they look too expensive for you or you don't care about some of these new features, because Apple still has the iPhone 11 in the lineup at $599 and the iPhone XR at $499, not to mention the budget-friendly iPhone SE at $399. I think the XR at $499 and the 11 at $599 are really good deals when you consider that a 6.1-inch size iPhone 12 retails for $800. So even though everyone is hyped about these brand new iPhones, don't forget that you can still go for an older model and save some money. Alright everyone, I really hope this video was helpful. If it was, be sure you leave me a like. If you want to see more from my channel, including a future review of the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to help the channel out in any way, make sure you check out some of the links in the description. Also, be sure to let me know, what do you think of the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 mini, the iPhone 12 Pro, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max? Which one do you plan on picking up? And what did you think of the Apple event overall? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.